Chapter 2. Dink raced into the book nook. Josh, Ruth Rose were right behind him. They found 3 seats behind Tommy Tomico and Eddie Carini. Dink plopped his pack on the floor. The clock over the cash register said 3 minutes after 11. "Where is he?" Dink whispered to Tommy Tomico. Tommy turned around. "Beats me. He's not here yet, and Mr. Patsky looks worried." "What's going on?" Ruth Rose said. Dink told her, Josh, what Tommy had said. "Patsky doesn't look pretty nervous," Josh whispered. "Mr. Patsky always looks nervous." Dink whispered back, looking around the room. He saw about 30 kids he knew. Mrs. David, Dink's neighbor, was looking at gardening books. Dink checked out the other grown-ups in the store. None of them looked like a famous mystery writer. Mr. Patsky stood up. "Boys and girls, welcome to the book nook. Wallis Wallace should be here any second. How many of you have books to be autographed?" Everyone waved a book in the air. "Wonderful. I'm sure Wallis Wallace will be happy to know that Greenlawn is a reading town." The children clapped and cheered. Dink glanced at the clock. 5 past 11. He swallowed, trying to stay calm. Wallis Wallace was late, but it was only by 5 minutes. Slowly, 5 minutes more passed. Dink felt his palms get damp. "Where is Wallis Wallace?" he wondered. Some of the kids started getting restless. Dink heard one kid say, "Whenever I'm late, I get grounded." "So where is he?" Josh asked. Ruth Rose looked at her watch. It's only 10 after, she said. Famous people are always late. Now Dink stared at the clock. The big hand jerked forward, paused, then wobbled forward again. At 11:15, Mr. Patsky stood up again. "I don't understand why Wallis Wallace is late," he said. Dink noticed that his bald head was shining with sweat. His bow tie was getting a workout. Mr. Patsky smiled bravely, but his eyes were blinking like crazy through his thick glasses. "Shall we give him a few more minutes?" The crowd grumbled, but nobody wanted to go anywhere. Ruth Rose started to read her book. Josh opened his sketch pad and began drawing Mr. Patsky. Dink turned and stared at the door. He mentally ordered Wallis Wallace to walk through it. "You have to come," thought Dink. Ever since he received Wallis Wallace's letter, he thought about only one thing, meeting him today. Suddenly, Dink felt his heart skip a beat. The letter. Short of being kidnapped, the letter said, "Nothing will stop me from coming." Kidnapped? Dink shook himself. Of course Wallis Wallace hadn't been kidnapped.